So we've recently heard that FaZe Twistzz has returned to his original home of FaZe Clan, and he's currently leaving Liquid. This is some crazy ass fucking news. As a FaZe fan, this is actually very questionable news because now we have to replace Rain or we have to replace Jacob, and it doesn't really make sense to replace Jacob after we've signed him. I know there's some rumors floating around that Jacob might be removed because, he set his profile picture to black, but overall, there's just a lot of hard decisions to be made about Twist coming back. Now, is this move a positive? Well, we have to consider it in a positive light because Twist brings so much more firepower that FaZe need. And whether it's for Jacob or Rain, which I assume are the two most likely candidates, Twist has far more firepower than both of them right now. And Twist for Jacob, Twist just brings so much more firepower, so much more experience. Rain, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword because Rain plays a lot of hard spots. He plays outside on nuke, he plays all these hard positions, and it's really, really hard to get someone who's so reliable in those positions. It's really hard to get someone who will consistently play the way Kerrigan wants him to play. So it's really, really hard, and I don't think it's gonna be Rain, unfortunately, and maybe also fortunately, because Rain is a soldier. Rain will do what he can for the team, and I just don't think that FaZe are ready to replace Rain yet. They don't have a solid player lined up for Rain, I think, unless it's gonna be Zontix in the future. But for now, we're gonna go under the assumption that it's Jacob. Now, is Jacob bad? No, Jacob is not bad by any means. In fact, he's been pretty serviceable. He's played some pretty good games so far. Despite this is like his second tier 1 event, he's been playing extremely well. But that doesn't, it's like the knock and the device situation where you just say, "Oh, who's coming in to replace me?" "Oh yeah, we got Twists coming in to replace you." It's like, "Oh, okay." I mean, all right, bro. Like you got nothing to say. It's to FaZe Twists. Now, why do FaZe need Twist so bad? Well, back in 2022 and 2023, Twist was kind of a pack player. He was in the middle of the entry section and he was not really baiting, but he was in the middle pretty much. So if you had Frozen back then with Robs, Twist would be in the center typically, and you'd have Kerrigan and Rain be the primary entries, and Twist can be in the center. But now Robs isn't here, so it's pretty much the same roster as the 2022 phase, which is why people are so excited. And we obviously know how exciting this team was. I mean, it was just incredible to watch them play. Twist had some magical moments. It was fantastic, but we have so many intangibles with Frozen now, right? And Frozen's playing fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Frozen is probably, if he was on a better team, probably the fifth best player of the year if he had more success. But Frozen, Frozen is like a Robs, and people are so excited because this team is so similar to 2022 version. And Twist in the 2022 version was the solid middle player that you could rely on that FaZe haven't had in a while because it would either be Frozen top fragging, or I'm talking about last year, it'd be either Frozen top fragging, Rob's had a slump, Brokey top fragging, and it would be the center, the main fragging core of FaZe was just non-existent. It was primarily relying on two people having a good game, and I think now that with Twists can actually be super solid in these pack positions because you remember what happened in Cologne. He took over the game himself. You remember how he sliced up portions of the map, especially on Nuke, being being that third or second entry behind Kerrigan or a Rain. Typically, Kerrigan goes in first on a bomb site take, but going after Rain, being able to trade and having that phenomenal trio, excuse me, of Brokey, Robs, and Twists was absolutely just mind blowing. So um, I'll be going over um, what possible roles there can be. So I already mentioned that Twistzz can be playing the pack role. Some people are saying that Twistzz could go to a star role, which I don't think will happen because Frozen's already playing phenomenally in those roles. So Frozen on Lurk for T side, I think is logical. Then obviously Brokey opping, Kerrigan the IGL slash supportive element, Rain the entry player, and Twistzz is gonna be sort of the pack player, I think, the trader, let's say. Um, Not really a baiter, but he's going to be going in the mid rounds when Kerrigan is dead or Rain is dead. That's what I assume, and that's what happened before with FaZe, and that's why they're so potent because Twistzz was able to get those openings. I think for CT side, I think Twistzz is going to be playing an anchor role, could be playing an anchor role because I don't think that if if by some reason that if Jacob stays, then Twistzz is playing an anchor role. If not, then Twistzz will probably play the rotational role like Khan on Mirage. I assume that that's what Twistzz will play, and it'll just be the same roles. I think if Jacob is not removed, then there might be some role swaps with maybe Twistzz taking a big side anchor role like Rain, I assume could happen. Or it will be that Rain isn't removed and Jacob is removed, and they'll just plug and play um, Twists in Jacob's roles because Jacob plays a lot of active roles on CT side, and Twist can pretty much fulfill that role very easily. Um, and I know for T side that Rain is actually playing a more hybrid role of support such lurk. Um, in that case, if you replace Jacob, then I think Rain will go back to his or yeah, Rain will go back to his original entry role, and then Twist will play that hack role typically. But right now, Jacob is being that second entry behind Kerrigan. So, but yeah, overall, this is looking very promising for FaZe. Twist has looked fantastic on a dysfunctional Liquid. This is gonna be probably a very, very, very good move to look out for because there isn't a lot of time before the major, and if FaZe can get their foot in the door, and by foot in the door, make it to stage playoffs, where this roster originally shined with Twistzz, with Brokey, with Rops, we could be looking at another version of 2022 FaZe, except Frozen is looking like a better version of Rops, and that really excites me. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, FaZe up, and see you guys later in the next video.